It's good.
Awesome. Well, Tony, thanks for joining. And for those of you who are now listening, I'm Adam Poplinski. I come from the traditional finance space, built $1 billion book of business in record time, became partner at one of the biggest firms in the world. And I'm here today with Tony Swantek. Serial entrepreneur, has built multiple $1 billion revenue businesses just in the last few years. And so what I wanted to talk about today is a few big trends that are occurring right now, and then pose some questions to Tony to get an understanding of where his time and energy and focus is going. And so, Tony, I appreciate you being here today.
Thanks for having me, Adam. Appreciate it as well.
Awesome. Well, I've been busy. There's about $125 trillion in baby boomers' hands that are flowing into a younger generation. And as we think about that transition, there's a whole nother transition that is occurring. The World Economic Forum in 2021 estimates that $867 trillion in business revenue is going to get disrupted by blockchain technology. Now, as we're learning more about what that means, there's a transition occurring from a Web 2 environment to a Web 3 environment. So, Tony, for everyone who hasn't really heard that terminology or maybe just hearing it for the first time, would you mind elaborating on what that means and maybe what it is specifically?
Yeah, I think, to kind of simplify, because Web3 and blockchain technology as a whole, I believe is going to disrupt most major industries in the world. And there's several different ways it will do that. I think if you're Googling the blockchain voting patent, like if you just bored one night, Google blockchain voting patent, you'll see that the United States Postal Service has owned that patent for over 5 years. And when you learn about blockchain technology, you realize pretty quickly, like, that patent could end voter fraud around the world overnight, like at the snap of a finger. And that's one use case, certainly. I think the biggest use case for society is really gonna revolve around data ownership. Centralized control of data versus decentralized control of data. And I think, humans as society have conceded to the fact that Mark Zuckerberg has been listening to me and you this whole time, and Jeff Bezos at Amazon and the Google boys have been listening as well. And I think what Web3 and blockchain is going to start to offer society is a choice. And if we come up with a choice that says, hey, you can continue to let your data go to Meta and Zuckerberg make another $5 billion, $10 billion, $40 billion or whatever, and let Bezos make another 20 billion and Google make another 20 billion, or you can make an extra couple grand a year off of that data. I think every one of us, all things considered equal, are going to choose to own and control our data if we're given that option and that choice. And I think that at its purest form is what Web3 does. Instead of using something like Zoom, where, in 2023, from March to August, they got caught sharing everyone's data with their AI, and people got upset about it. But what were you going to do? Run to Google Meet, go to Microsoft Teams? Those guys are better at mining data than Zoom is. And so what this platform, actually the platform we're on, which is a Web3 platform, a blockchain technology video conferencing platform, it allows us to own and control our data instead of some centralized hub, somebody like Zuckerberg or someone like Zoom or Google controlling that data.
And that's just one piece of the disruption, correct? Like the technology that we're using right now, and those listening and watching at home, can you talk a little bit more about how this actually has more of a disruptive exposure to the markets?
Yeah, I think there's, obviously, when you look at disruption as a whole, Adam, I look at historically kind of three areas where industries have been disrupted. And it's usually a combination, two of the three. Sometimes you get three of the three areas. I look at price, I look at convenience, and then kind of an offshoot of both of those, I can look at technology, which maybe helps you on the price side, helps you on the convenience side. Taking retail as an example, as I was growing up, I saw Walmart disrupt Main Street USA. All of a sudden, price-wise, you were not going to beat them. Their buying power was massive, and it was pretty convenient. Getting all your groceries in one place, your tires changed at the same place, grabbing a couple t-shirts and an extra pair of socks. You could do it all at Walmart versus going to 4 or 5 different stores. And so they hit price and convenience pretty hard. Technology was probably the same. The cash registers at their stores at Walmart early were the same as the stores you were going to get at the mom and pops. But then you had Amazon come in using technology to create much more convenience. Don't even leave the house, same day shipping. Not only am I buying something, but it's telling me what I might also want to buy, and it's pretty dang good at it. And so price wise, they were probably a little higher than Walmart. Actually, if you go apples to apples, the same products a lot of times are cheaper at Walmart, but a lot of times I'll just buy it on Amazon because I don't want to go to Walmart. I don't want to drive. I don't want to leave the house, whatever it is. So those are ways to disrupt. When I looked at something like video conferencing, someone like Zoom really didn't have a lot of loyalty. They've got about 300 million users a day. And I felt like price-wise, we could beat them pretty bad. Their prices kept going up and have been, and they haven't really improved their quality of service. It's just they're raising prices. And so I felt like they would be susceptible for attack there. We can present and convert at a much higher level with the technology that we've developed through our community. And so I think from a convenience standpoint, if it's cheaper and better, that makes it easier to use. And then blockchain technology really, I think, is kind of the secret weapon, so to speak, to where it's going to be very difficult for a Web2 business to say, all right, you guys own the platform, and just let the users in the community own it and control all their data and monetize their own data. Web2 companies, Zuckerberg is not going to give you and me our data. It's not going to give anyone that's watching this their data and let them make money off it. Zoom is not going to give you your data. Google Meet, Microsoft Teams, they're not going to allow you to have your data and monetize it. This community does exactly that. And then we can also, using blockchain technology, reward you for using the platform and sharing the platform with others. And so I think we have a huge advantage that once people understand they have a choice to use a product that they own and control, use a product that they actually get rewarded for using, and then they can turn around and monetize their data from that product, I think it's going to be a no-brainer. It's just a matter of us, really getting out of our beta and getting out to the world and sharing this story.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense in how the 867 trillion in business revenue, you can get to that number. What is it, a quadrillion now?
Yeah, it's around there. 1.3 quadrillion, I think some people have said.
Oh, even coming from the financial realm, I don't want other people Zoom bombing my appointments with my clients. That could be a conversation where we own that data. And that makes a ton of sense why something like this could disrupt Zoom. But Tony, in terms of seeing the value in something like this, how would one participate in this? Or see that it is going to disrupt technologically and say, hey, I want to be a part of that?
Well, I think for most people, if someone's wanting to spend their time, energy, effort, and maybe money in a project, they should like the project. I always tell people, use the platform, use the service. If you think it's as good or better than Zoom, or it will be in the future, and you can get involved early, that's better than getting involved late, And I think in blockchain, it's been very intimidating for a lot of people, especially baby boomers. My mom is somebody that is not going to be setting up a MetaMask wallet and bridging tokens to ERC20 and going into Uniswap and starting to pick up the Rally token, which is the blockchain. The Rally blockchain is this platform, we call it R-Link, lives on the Rally blockchain, and I'm earning Rally tokens for using my platform right now because I'm a community member. And so, can my mom go on Uniswap and buy Rally tokens? Yeah. Is it difficult? For someone like my mom, it'd be pretty difficult just to set up the tech itself. Then the buy side is fairly difficult. I have friends that are into blockchain that have a hard time buying because we're in beta. There's no sellers. There's very few sellers. One of my buddies just bought 50 grand worth of tokens, and it took him a month or so. It took a long, he was buying $100 at a time, $70 at a time, And so our community wanted to make it easier for people to get involved at the initial level. And again, I always tell people there's never any guarantees. This is not something where you take out your second mortgage and buy tokens in a blockchain project. But I do say, hey, if you've got a high risk part of your portfolio, you love the product or the service, you want to pick up some tokens, you pick up some tokens. We have an NFT that's available. The community is launching this actually probably in the next 24 to 48 hours. And it's what we call a match NFT. So someone could buy $25 a week worth of tokens. And if they do it for 20 weeks straight and hold those tokens in a wallet, the community will match those tokens, basically double the amount of tokens they receive. The maximum someone could do is $5,000 a week. But there's kind of anything in between, if somebody wants to do 25 bucks, 50 bucks, 100 bucks, or if they want to do 500 or a couple thousand or 5,000, there's different levels, but they're getting a match on those tokens. And again, the tokens could be worth nothing. Like that's the I guess beauty and the beast of operating in a new technology, new blockchain, new products, new services. But we actually are on the service. It's not like we're in idea phase here. We have about a little over 1,000 users in our beta that really like our platform. And it's just a matter of scaling it up, which we're very close to being able to open it up to the world. And our last project that our community launched was actually the #1 performing cryptocurrency in the world in 2021 during the last bull run. Now, I'm not saying we're going to do that. We had a $40 billion market cap in right around 3.5 years, 40 billion. And we went from 40 million market cap to 40 billion market cap within a few months. Like when it hits in the blockchain sometimes. Now, again, we'll probably never do anything like that. But I can tell you this platform that we're on right now, Adam, we've done more revenue last month than that other project, our biggest project up to date, did in their first 3 years combined. We did more revenue last month than that project did last month. And so our trajectory is very, very strong. But at the end of the day, I always tell people this, listen, if we align with your mission, your vision, and values, we want you to be a part of our community. You can help us grow. You can become a user. You can share the platform with others. You can buy one of these NFTs and pick up some tokens, put them in your wallet and see what happens. But at the end of the day, the bigger the community gets, the stronger the community gets. And so that's the beauty of blockchain. If we're going to take on the Zuckerbergs of the world, the Sam Altmans at ChatGPT, if we're going to take on the Zooms of the world, we're never going to do it by ourselves. We'll have no chance. But if we build the right community and we get the right people involved, we're going to be really difficult to compete with when it's all said and done.
It's starting to connect the dots why an entrepreneur like yourself is excited about this, because there's going to be technology that we own our data, and to get rewarded to use it, that's incredible. And that match NFT, way easier than going to MetaMask or Uniswap to get it. And plus you're gonna match it. That's incredible news. Well, thank you, Tony. I appreciate you sharing your time today.
Yeah, appreciate you having me on. And I think our community making it easy, whoever invited you on to watch this interview, they can share with you exactly how to pick up one of those NFTs if you're truly interested, or how to use the platform if you're wanting to switch over from Zoom and save a little bit of money and maybe get a little better service. So thanks for having me on, Adam. And for those of you that do decide to take that next step, I want to welcome you to the Rally blockchain community.
Awesome. Thanks, Tony.